This is a sports catastrophe production.
Bill Belichick. Surprised he looks like that with the bangs being the way it is. Not a gray hair in sight. He is one of the best coaches of all time. A lot of people said, oh, of course, because he has 6 Super Bowl titles. But it's mostly for bringing New England from the depths of terrible sadness into the light. I know a lot of my Jet fan buddies are not too happy with this video, but it happened on January 4th, 2000. Belichick's cold feet. Bill Belichick started off life as a defensive coach and a specialist for Bill Parcells' Giants teams of the late 80s, early 90s, helping the Giants win the 87 and 91 Super Bowls with his defensive talents. Belichick was partially responsible for why the Giants could take out the heavily favored Bills in the 91 Super Bowl, or Super Bowl 25 to you and me. Basically put, he knew that Buffalo wanted to keep the ball, use the ball and their time of possession to do something. So basically, Belichick and Parcells came up with a plan for the Giants to play keep away with time of possession, making sure that Buffalo didn't get the ball and their time of possession, the the lesser time of possession, the more likely that Buffalo wouldn't be scoring a lot of points. So the Giants went on long-winded drives and all that. They were up 20-19, and Buffalo had a chance. Scott Norwood from 48 yards to win the game, and wide right, as everyone knows. However, people forget that Scott Norwood was not really a good kicker on grass, and 48 yards is a long way on grass, not artificial turf like what Buffalo had. So unfortunately for Buffalo, that started a string of 4 straight Super Bowl losses and appearances. So basically, yeah, the Giants did well. Unfortunately, Bill Parcells tired of the Giants' way and basically left. So Ray Perkins became the coach, and Ray Perkins made a controversy by putting Jeff Hostetler in a quarterback competition against Phil Simms. Basically, Hostetler, even though he won the Super Bowl and helped the Giants out when Simms got injured, basically wasn't that good of a quarterback. And basically, he went left to go to Kansas City and the Oakland Raiders, among others. Meanwhile, Perkins just didn't help out, and the Giants, even though they had a great 12-4 season in the 93-94 season, basically they fell in the playoffs, and LT basically said goodbye, and the Giants struggled for a few years after that, until they got to the Super Bowl in 2001 and got crushed by the Ravens. But Bill Belichick also moved on. Cleveland gave him the keys to their team. Cleveland, one of the most famous football cities of all time. They had a history, a plethora of history that Paul Brown helped create and all that. So what do you expect? Belichick took a head coaching job with Cleveland, and he did a decent job. The only problem with Belichick was his mistakes. One such mistake was during the 93 season, the same season the Giants went 12-4 in. Basically, he decided to cut Bernie Kosar loose, saying that he had diminishing skills. And people were shocked that he would do such a thing, especially with Cleveland being in a playoff hunt. But he trusted Vinny Testaverde a little too much. Despite the fact that the Browns would make the playoffs and beat the New England Patriots, his soon-to-be franchise, basically, you just couldn't escape Cleveland fans just berating him for what he did and all that. Basically, using his Eastern superiority and all that. Kosar would find a lucky job being the backup in Dallas to Troy Aikman, and actually kind of winning a Super Bowl ring in '94, which was amazing. But yeah, you can't get rid of Kosar in Cleveland. Like, jeez, no matter how good you are. Belichick would help the '95 Cleveland Browns try to do better. All that. They were predicted to do well. They even signed Andre Rison as a free agent, although free agency was in its infancy in a sense, and basically Art Modell had to pay for the signing bonus and had to go to different banks to scrape the money. So basically, Cleveland had a decent guy in Andre Rison, and basically they were hoping that he would help Cleveland do well and lead them to the playoffs. A 4-1 start was basically having everyone saying, "Here we go, this is a playoff spot." And then, out of the blue, boom, our Modell announces he's selling the team. Okay, fair enough. But lo and behold, he sells the team to Baltimore before he can find a local owner. Why couldn't he find a local owner, a guy who would keep the team in Cleveland? But that's the way things go sometimes, I guess. So basically, Modell said he had no choice because of his finances and all that, which is true. I mean, Cleveland Stadium was a fire hazard waiting to happen. But I mean, Modell could have tried to find someone in Cleveland to save the franchise and all that. But it was mostly due to the fact that, the city of Cleveland gave money for a new basketball stadium, a new baseball stadium, a science museum, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Whereas they couldn't find the money to give Cleveland a newer football facility. And after all, Cleveland Municipal lost the Indians as they moved to Jacobsville in '94. But unfortunately, Modell would basically get the brunt of everyone hating on him and all that, and giving NFL football back to Baltimore. In a way, that move actually was good for CFL fans like myself because with Baltimore now focused on the NFL, they decided to get rid of their CFL franchise, and Montreal, a city without its CFL team for 9 years, actually snatched every player and all that. So they got like Tracy Ham and Mike Pringle and the Baltimore defense all to themselves. Basically, they got a lot of players in Montreal, and now it's for a mini dynasty. Although they couldn't win too many Grey Cups, to my chagrin. Basically, yeah, you know, it was a good move because the Montreal Alouettes became one of the most feared teams in the CFL for about 2 decades. But anyway, yeah, Belichick coached that team, and basically Belichick was blamed for his stuff. Belichick would not hang around Cleveland long. He wouldn't even get to go to Baltimore. He decided to be a coordinator under Bill Parcells in the New York Jets. So basically, he did. And when Parcells just couldn't help the Jets out before the 2000 season, he basically wanted out. So he decides to give the keys to Belichick, and Belichick is the new head coach of the New York Jets. Fantastic. The Jets and New York. Well, basically, Belichick would be the coach of both the Jets and Giants. That's a rarity. I think only one person has done that before. I don't know. But anyway, Belichick then got cold feet 24 hours later and said, "I don't think I should take the job with the Jets." Why? Like freaking Parcells has confidence in you, and you decide to leave the team? That just doesn't make sense. So people are like, why did Belichick leave? A lot of reasons, but basically Belichick then found a better opportunity with the New England Patriots. Ironically, Parcells came over from the Pats to the Jets, even though that Parcells was helping New England get to Super Bowl 31. The Jets would have to pay a fine and 2 first-round picks to the Pats for the rights to Bill Parcells, which is strange that Belichick would go to the Pats from the Jets. Weird. You know, the first few years, Belichick wasn't really doing that well. So basically, maybe he moving to the Jets was the wrong move. In 2001, the New England Patriots were sucking badly. They were 0-2 to start. Andrew Bledsoe just got injured by Mo Lewis. And yes, as everyone should know, that was just before 9/11. If memory serves me right, I think right. No, I think it was the week after 9/11 that Mo Lewis of the Jets, ironically enough, crushed Drew Bledsoe for the Pats. And then the Pats had to use this backup no-namer, even though he was a college standout with Michigan. Basically, he was drafted in the 6th round. Tom Brady. And Brady surprised a lot of people by helping the Pats do well. Heck, Tom Brady helped the Pats take down the Oakland Raiders in the divisional round, even though that the tech rule overshadowed everything good with that game. I mean, in the snow and all that. New England had to go into Pittsburgh, mind you, and face the Steelers, who were very tough at home. And they beat the Steelers, even though Brady got hurt and Bledsoe had to take his place. So they went with Tom Brady for the Super Bowl against the St. Louis Rams, and it worked. The Pats win on a last-second Allen Vincenzo field goal. That's when I decided to be a New England Patriots fan. and all that. But 2003, the Pats lost on the last day of the season to curse themselves and get themselves out of the playoffs. But the Pats bounced back in 2004 and did very well. All that getting to the Super Bowl and all that. A lot of people were shocked how good the Pats can be and all that. But thanks to Belichick, the Pats went into Houston's Reliance Stadium. I know it's not called that now, but that's what I call it. And took out the Carolina Panthers on a last-second interference field goal. Now, mind you, that Carolina screwed up the Super Bowl because John Casey kicked the kickoff when they tied the game out of bounds, which meant that Pats had the ball at their 40. So then the Pats then again did well. They got through. They weren't the best team in the AFC, but Pittsburgh, 15-1 for God's sake. Ben Roethlisberger was becoming alive, so the Pats had to go into the Lions Den in Pittsburgh to try to go to the Super Bowl in 2005. And they won. They took down Big Ben. They had to face the Philadelphia Eagles. Imagine an all-Pennsylvania Super Bowl in 2005. But anyway, the Eagles were close, but time management fucked them over, and the Pats won the Super Bowl. Belichick would help lead the Pats to another Super Bowl appearance in 2008, riding the tail of a perfect 16-0 regular season. It's like, how the hell did he do that? They were looking to go 19-0, of course, with the playoffs included. But sadly, the Giants and that dumb Dr. C from Sports Illustrated, I blame him because if he hadn't wrote that article about how the Giants beat the Pats, then probably the Giants would not have known how to take down Tom Brady and all that. That's why I never read Sports Illustrated to this day. Basically put, the Giants won. Eli's famous scamper out of a sack and all that. It's a great play and all that. And if that was true, if that was a good play, but still the Pats won, I still say it's one of the best. I would enjoy it more, but Pats lost the Super Bowl. I was storming mad, as I should be. To those pesky Giants, Belichick's former team, when he was a defensive coordinator. Pats then looked like they wanted to go back to the Super Bowl and put that 16-0 season behind them. That 18-1 behind them. Sadly, though, Brady got hurt with his knee. Matt Castle shocked everyone by having the Pats go to 11-5, but they still missed the playoffs on tiebreaker to the Dolphins, and that was pathetic. So, regardless of what happened, Belichick was a genius at times, basically riding Tom Brady and riding defense that basically was good, and basically a rotation of running backs and wide receivers. Belichick, as GM, basically knew when to pick up people from the scrap heap, like Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, and basically make them into stars for the Pats. So the Pats then, of course, life goes on with the Pats. They lose another Super Bowl to the Giants, and then in 2015 they finally get a Super Bowl win, the first time in 10 years, by taking down the Seattle Seahawks. But it wasn't Belichick's coaching that helped. It was Carroll's lack of coaching. As Marshawn Lynch was a good running back, and they were at the 1.5-yard line, so they could have beast moded it into the end zone. Seattle would have won back-to-back Super Bowls, becoming the first team since the Pats to do that role. But no, they didn't. They just had to throw the ball, and Malcolm Butler was surprisingly there. The Pats would then go on to win the 2017 Super Bowl, but only because Atlanta choked a 28-3 lead and all that. I admit, I didn't watch the second half of that game. I was basically like, this game's over, so I turned it off. And then all of a sudden, when I heard about the reports, it said the game was going to overtime. I'm like, overtime? I guess I'll watch it. And then the Pats scored that James White touchdown. I nearly lost it there. I was shocked that the Pats would win the Super Bowl. And yeah, the Pats won the Super Bowl. I was shocked. They went back in 2018, only for Philly, with their Philly special, knocking down the Pats. And I believe Malcolm Butler was also surprisingly not playing at all in that Super Bowl. That would have been a whole lot of difference. But then the Pats did it again. They won another division title and won another AFC title and would face the LA Rams and in one of the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history would take down the Rams 13-3. I admit it was a boring game watching it live with my buddy. But yeah, so Belichick basically helped out, and then the Pats basically did terribly. They won the division, but they were forced into the wild card game last year and lost at home to the Titans, who then shocked the Baltimore Ravens and nearly got to the Super Bowl, but Kansas City didn't have anything to say, had a lot to say about that. It's hard to imagine what if Bill Belichick was a New York Jet coach. A lot of people actually said that he would have went after Tom Brady as a quarterback and helped the Jets do well. I mean, Chad Pennington wasn't really cutting the mustard all these years and all that. So yeah, Jet fans will be pissed. I mean, I sympathize with them. Like, but what if Bill Belichick was a choke artist? What if he was terrible as a Pats coach? Basically, then the Jets would say goodbye, good bitch. They'll only bitch because Belichick's led them to a Super Bowl. Heck, he led them to six. Although some people say that they're all tainted in some kind of way. Ha, Roger Goodell, piece of shit. So regardless of that, Bill Belichick's cold feet actually helped one franchise and fucked the other one. The New York Jets would be completely messed up, although they had some good seasons. In 2000, they looked good to make the playoffs under Al Groh, the former Virginia head coach. But sadly, though, the Jets choked away a lot, and Baltimore, with Jermaine Lewis's punt returns for touchdowns, basically sunk them in the final game of the season. The Jets would also have another massive collapse in 2008, alongside the stock market. But the Jets collapsed so badly. Brett Favre was playing hurt even though he shouldn't have been playing hurt, and that cost him dearly. As the Jets slid down, and Chad Pennington, who was the guy that the Jets got rid of to sign Favre, went to Miami and helped Miami win the division and knocked the Jets out of the playoffs, and the Pats for that matter too. Because if the Jets had won, the Jets would have been the wild card team, and the Pats would have won the division, but the Jets would have been in the playoffs too. But man, karma bit them in the butt. And Brett Favre basically left for Minnesota. The Jets had a few decent seasons. In the 2004 playoffs, they shocked the San Diego Chargers in overtime before the Steelers got them in overtime to go to the AFC title game. And heck, the Jets went into Foxborough to beat the Pats and go to the AFC Championship game when they should have taken down the Pittsburgh Steelers, but no, Pittsburgh took them out, just like in 2004. The Jets have been very woeful. In fact, in the 2020 season, they had a chance to go 0-16, but they won two key games in the worst possible way because that means Jacksonville has the first overall pick and will definitely pick Trevor Lawrence because, Jacksonville needs a quarterback. The Jets, I don't know who they'll pick, number two, but who cares? So anyway, yeah, it's how one door shuts and the other one opens. And one franchise bitches while the other franchise were able in 6 Super Bowl titles, like the Steelers. That's all I have to say about this. I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.